Hello everybody, it's the Grippeteer and I'm back again with another Steven Universe vlog, and today's episode is Storm in the Room. And in this episode, kind of continuing the events of last episode, Connie is still at Steven's house, or the temple, and they're just hanging out, and Connie's waiting for her mom to come pick her up, and a storm starts brewing outside, and when Connie's mom won't pick up her phone, then Steven and Connie go off and play some games. And eventually, Connie's mom does come and picks her up, and that's the end of that storyline. And then Steven's all sad because he misses his mom, and he's learned a whole bunch of stuff about her lately, which, woo-wee, it's been a little heavy on him. So he goes to the room, his room that is, not the Tommy Wiseau movie, and he asks if he can see his mom. And a rose, so to speak, being rose quartz, not an actual rose, people, what do you say? Creates itself, I guess. It creates itself for Steven, and they're having a fun time. They're playing football, they're playing video games on his little GameCube N64 looking thing. I mean, really, is that anything besides an N64? It's the same controller and everything. It's great. I love it. Get to that later. But Steven understands that this isn't what his mom was really like. This is what he wants his mom to be like. This is what he wants having a mother in his life to be like. He knows that his mom was really, this, and even though we know a little bit otherwise, he thinks of his mom to be this murderous, lying jerk, I guess, who portrays people in lies and blah, 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 all that stuff you know from the past episodes. This piece of hair, I will cut it right off. You stay. Get back to you later. Anyway, when Steven says all that, of course, since this is Steven Universe, the character that you have to be, grown to have affection towards gets all creepy and distorted and everything goes wrong. And at that point, Steven's like, you know what? Maybe you don't even care about anybody because I'm an angsty teenager now. And his mom sort of calms down and says that, yeah, she does care about him and she does want to be with him. He saw the video that she left in the line. She obviously cares about him, wants to be with him, and unfortunately can't. And Steven kind of takes comfort in that, knowing that even though his mom can't be here, she's not the lying, jerk, so to speak. She doesn't want to be here. And then he goes back to the temple, and he gets pizza, which is, of course, a great conclusion. So, I'm supposed to come here and tell you that this episode was really, really good. And, Yeah, this one was really good. Look, alright, you guys are always on my tail for when an episode comes out that I'm supposed to love. I always hate it. I didn't like the zoo storyline. I'm a grump. I didn't like Alone Together. I'm a grump. Well, here's the episode you all wanted. Steven meets his mom. It's all cute and it's all happy. And yeah, I liked it, alright? Alright? I like the show that I review on my YouTube page every single week. Who knew? Rebecca Sugar, please come on my show sometime. Yes, I really, really like this episode. It's just... Okay, there's two levels to how nice this episode is. There's the surface layer, so to speak, of the characters and the story and all that fun stuff. But especially the visuals in this episode, and this always happens when Steven goes into his room. But I just have this thing, I guess, for pinks and blues and light sort of pastel-looking colors. And they really do use a very nice pastel color palette. Pastel, I say pastel. Color palette in the room. Especially there's this scene where Rose is sort of creating a hurricane around her, and it's blowing up these clouds that turn a still tastefully beautiful gray, honestly, dark green and sort of turquoise looking colors, and they're just this really nice mix of colors. The color palettes chosen for this episode are very, very nice, especially when they're in the room itself. The only thing that I really didn't get is the entire beginning with Connie. How Connie and Steven are hanging out and all that fun stuff, and then her mom comes. And I thought about it, because I usually get on here and I say, I don't understand something, and then I post the video, and the second I press the send button, I'm like, oh wait, that's what that meant. So I'm thinking that was supposed to remind Steven of how much he should love his mom, or at least he'd miss having a mom, and I think that's why that's in there. If not, then it's kind of pointless, but I'm pretty sure that's why that's there. please back me up in the comments. It seems pretty accurate, right? It's not just me? Alright, cool. We're cool. Moving on. So, yeah, there's that layer. There's the beautiful colors layer. And, you see Steven and all that fun stuff. But, of course, there's the underlayer, if you will, the second layer. Like an onion, it has layers where the beauty and the passion, I guess, that you see when Sugar and, her team write an episode like this. Especially one of these, alright, we're dealing with something heavy episodes. One of these buckle down episodes. I loved the zoo storyline, but think about it. What were the only buckle down episodes? There was the one with the diamonds singing, and there was the one where you meet Blue Diamond, maybe? Besides that, I mean, yeah, the other ones were fine episodes, but they were just episodes. They didn't really, beat down on you with the emotion. Well, here's one this'll make up for it if the other ones didn't, especially after the new Crystal Gems. Yeah. Yes, this episode is amazing. It's beautiful. Aesthetically, I guess visually is what I mean, but the layer of the conversations that the characters are having, or I guess the two characters, but you know what I mean, are having about, I guess, false identity is something that's really coming up in this show a lot more lately. And this idea that this idol that you keep in your mind, when you learn more about them, may not be, the person you knew and loved. John F. Kennedy, being one of the greatest American presidents of all time, check the Forbes poll, this isn't Gruppetier's political circle, being, well regarded as one of the best of all time, still had a dark, so to speak, you can look at him as the figure of all that is America and patronage and all that. And then you can look deeper and see, his drug problems, be those, actual, like, prescription drugs, and then, like, street drugs and all that. And it's works on two levels. I don't look at John F. Kennedy as, oh, look at that guy, he did drugs, he's not the president. I look at, you see him as an American figure, and you don't see Rose as the murderer, I guess, that she is. You see her as the beautiful person because people perceive her as the beautiful person. And if you really want, you could even take this to a religious standpoint, which we're not going to do here, but even it works like that. It works on so many levels. It can work on maybe, your grandpa or something. You know him as a war hero, but being a war hero, yeah, he killed a whole bunch of innocent people. Like I said about John F. Kennedy, you can see this person as a staple in your life, so to speak, a role model for you. But yeah, everybody has a dark side. Like all those videos I have on my computer about, don't worry about it. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that, really, that when you not reject false icons, but when you look at someone a little deeper, someone who you idolize a little deeper, and you really understand not only what's going on in there, but how it affects what's going on with you, like in here, it's really something, and it's really a spectacle that Steven Universe, the show on the Cartoon Network, that, people, the kids show can address an issue that a lot of adult shows pretty much don't address. And I love that. I love that you can introduce an idea this powerful, and you can introduce it to children at a young age. Let's say children watch this show, and yes, I know that the age demographic is children, but not that many children watch it per se, as much as, young teens and young adults. But the point, young teens is children. You know what I mean. You know the demographic. But the thing is that if you can introduce these ideas to somebody at a young, impressionable age, if you will, these are the ideas that they'll keep in their mind their entire life. Like, when you see all those, those lists on the internet about how, Rocko's Modern Life, 10 adult jokes you didn't get as a kid. Well, the reason that stuff like that is in there, and I hate to go off track, but I guess bring it back to Steven Universe, the reason that messages like this are in here is when they're introduced in the real life, when you're an adult, and when you have to deal with these issues, they're not as alien as they may seem, because, yeah, surprise, surprise, little kids shows, and, the cartoons that you can label as stuff for children, which I love cartoons, and I do, but there's a lot that are. Steven Universe is a show made for children still. I mean, yes, it can be mature and incredibly adult, but Steven Universe is a show made for children. It can give you these issues that you can have in your mind as a child work out yourself, maybe, ponder as a little kid, so when they confront you in the real world, it's not completely alien. You're ready for it because you've been introduced to it through media as a child. And that is one of the things that this show thrives on. The way that it can tackle adult issues, adult relationships, such important things, in a way that children can understand, they can relate to, and it doesn't seem like the Sunday morning, preach show. It seems like these characters are having fun, and the main point of the show is not these messages. The main point of the show is the plot, and these messages can be interpreted as they are. You probably saw the episode a different way I did, and that's fine. But the point of all of this is that you can introduce things like this to children at young ages, and they'll understand it better when they confront it in real life. And I love that the show does this. It is so good at it's so good! Why do you think I'd be covering it since day one if I didn't love it? Steven Universe continues to just marvel me every single time I see a new episode that's good. And I really wish that, yes, we did see a lot more of these episodes, but I'm happy that they come every once in a while, because they are episodes that, if they came every single time, would be heavy hitters. Not every episode of Arthur or Hey Arnold exactly hits the point that other episodes do. And I'm happy that Steven Universe, while I don't always like the more comedically themed episodes, knows that, alright, we can't always be hitting our audience like this, and when we do, we gotta do it hard and we gotta make an impression. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Universe it's evolving right in front of us, to be honest. It's becoming, I've seen it. I've seen the show happen. I've been here since, and I hate to be like the original fan, but I've been doing the vlogs since, 2 weeks after the show started airing. I've seen the fan base evolve. I've seen the people in it evolve. I've seen the creators evolve. And the way that it's progressing is just gorgeous. The more things that it tackles, whilst also developing the story, is a marvel. And it should be an example for how other TV shows should handle issues in real life and how to write stories. It's amazing. I love this episode. One of my favorites. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Oh wait, the next episode of Cartoons vs. Cancer is on Monday, being February 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Shannon Tyndall, the creator of Kubo and the Two Strings. Be there.